It's been a very tense last 24 hours in the camp of Shooting Stars as the management of the club, led by the newly appointed executive chairman, that's talking about Honorable Taiwo Lekan Salami, parted ways with the entire technical and management crew of Shooting Stars. On the show today, we'll definitely break that down as we've been talking to Honorable Taiwo Lekan Salami since the past 16 hours. And Toby Ajewale, who's been talking to him, will definitely be joining us very shortly to put into context all that has been happening at that particular club. All we want is for our club to move forward, and it appears that something interesting is about to happen to our darling Shooting Stars. On that note, to welcome you to today's edition of Dominion Sport, coming to you live from Dominion Television. We're situated at Yagonku, right here in the beautiful Brown Roof City of Ibadan. I'm Boluwaji Ogumala. Toluwani Polabe is right here with me in the studio, and together we'll be talking everything sport from the local scene, from the Ibadan scenario yesterday to the Flying Eagles as they lost the finals of the WAFU Big Championship in Ghana, to our Super Falcons preparing for the big final at the weekend. Of course, to basketball story, the league game started yesterday. To the Day Tigers preparing for the AfroBasket. All of this we'll be enjoying, especially female football, as we now have the finalists. Yeah, and for the first time in a while, Toluwani got his predictions correctly.
Good morning to you, Boluwaji, and I'm so excited to be in the studio this wonderful morning. Like you said, it's all eaten up in the city of Ibadan within the last 16 hours actually, and it's been back and forth. And I'm sure we have so much to give out to the sporting family this wonderful morning. Also, like you said, the women's football is loaded also today. What of transfer basketball? So it's all in your delight for you to just stay connected and enjoy the show with us.
Of course, today we will be talking extensively about Shooting Stars situation, even as the government is actually looking to reposition the club side. Let's kickstart this morning by informing you that Shooting Stars Sport of Ibadan have parted ways with head coach Benga Ogumbote and the entire management staff of the club. The Oyo State club had finished the last season 8th position, having managed 15 wins, 9 draws and 14 defeats in 38 matches. Now, their underwhelming performance has now prompted the club's hierarchy, led by the newly appointed executive chairman, Honorable Taiwo Lekan Salami, to part ways with experienced golfer Benga Ogumbote and the entire technical coaching crew and the general manager himself, Dimeji Lawal, with immediate effect. Now, prior to his departure, Ogumbote had been at the helm of affairs at Shooting Stars for 2 years and 11 months, which he had rejoined, you remember, in August 2022 for a third time. Also, former player Dimeji Lawal Kabongo, who served as general manager of the team, has also been relieved of his duties ahead of the forthcoming season. Now, former coach Edith Agoye is being touted to make another return to the club. Well, aside Agoye, another coach has been penned down, and that's the coach that coached Ikorodu City last season. Ogumbote leaving the club after speculations surrounding his decision to stay or move to Kano Pillars. But none of that will happen at this point because he's an asked to leave at this point, and Kano Pillars just appointed a new coach yesterday. Well, widely traveled coach, being with Lobby Stars, Sunshine Stars and all. But then it's time to leave. There you have it. Everyone's left, including the media officer, Tosin Omojola. Toluwani.
It's a lot of shake-up in the camp of the Oyo State, a lot of shake-up actually, and it's expected actually, because when you have a new hierarchy coming, he has his own, he wants his own hands, in the system, right there. But I think it's coming. I don't want to say it's coming too late because the season's upon us, quite shortly. But I'm sure that the new system, they know what they want, and I'm sure they have the idea of what they want to achieve. For Shooting Stars come next season. Remember. Governor Seyi Makinde has already, appointed Honorable Lekan Salami, Taiwo Lekan Salami to be, on the affair of these things, and he knows best, and like I said, he wants to bring in the best hands, but having to move out all this, technical crew. I was asking a question. I said. Yesterday, I was speaking with David of Sport yesterday, and I said, so how do they feed now? So how do they survive? Because all of a sudden, it looks like just all of us, everybody we're out of the job already. And so the question now is, so like you gave a breaking news also that Kano Pillars was supposed to pick up Gbenga Ogunbote.
So there was speculation linking it, but Ogunbote said no, he wanted to wait.
But now it looked like
they appointed a new coach. Evans Ogunbote, he just lost his job.
So it's a whole lot right now in the camp of, we're hoping for the very best that, whoever they are bringing into the system, can take Shooting Stars up to the next level.
All right, our man, Toby Ajewole, has been talking to Chief Taiwo Lekon Salami in the last 16 hours, and he's been talking to him about the developments happening at the club. Toby, can you hear me? Good morning to you.
Yes, good morning to you, to everyone watching and everyone listening to us. It's good to join you once again.
But absolutely good to have you. A lot has happened at Shooting Stars in the last 16 hours, and you've been talking to the chairman of the club. I mean, tell us, what has it been like, having the regular guys leave the club at this point?
Well, yes, definitely. It has been a race, keeping up with all of the activities with the Shooting Stars. And yesterday we saw the chairman, Honorable Taiwo Lekon Salami, officially announced the disengagement of a whole lot of staff within the Oluyole Warriors, from the technical crew to the management team. Even the media team was not spared from that disengagement, saying in the coming days we would have a new look to the Oluyole Warriors. And first of those appointments was the appointment of the Chief Operating Officer and Marketing Strategist, definitely going to reposition the club from the marketing aspect, because one thing that he touched on was that there will be a whole lot of changes on and off the field of play, and I think we started seeing that a whole lot of names has been mentioned that will potentially take over the coaching role of the Shooting Stars. One thing that the chairman of Shooting Stars said was that yes, they want to make Shooting Stars a digital club,
and do things differently.
Yes. They want that in the past, the Shooting Stars has been an analog club, that they want to make Shooting Stars take that step further. Though he appreciated what the technical crew as led by Gbenga Ogunbote did, but maybe they felt you cannot keep doing the same thing and expecting a different result. That was one thing that stuck out from everything Honorable Taiwo Lekon Salami said yesterday, and of course those changes have been taking place, and in the coming days, in the coming hours, we'll see who will be sitting in the dugout come next season for the Oluyole Warriors.
So I've been going through comments on Facebook and of course taking reactions from fans of Shooting Stars, and many believe that we should have stuck with Gbenga Ogunbote. What's your thought?
Well, the truth is that, yes, I would say opinions are still divided over Gbenga, but personally, I have wanted him to have stayed, but, you would also want to, some people would also want to agree, which to some extent, I might also want to agree to that maybe he might have been at his wit's end based on some of the things that he has faced, some of the things that the club has gone through, and they felt, okay, maybe it might just not be the one to have finally got it.
Toby,
you can do everything, but you might not just get it.
Yeah, the challenge here is, are we going to get someone with better coaching pedigree than Gbenga Ogunbote?
Yes, that's also another question too. But sometimes it might also be a case of maybe just clearing everyone out, having a breath of fresh air, and allowing everybody start on a clean slate.
Yeah.
Maybe that might be the case right there. And I feel it might be the chairman might not want to put new wine in an old bottle, so let everything start new. Maybe that is what the chairman said. And one thing that the chairman said that maybe that got some of us thinking when he spoke yesterday was that he said they want a young coach, they want a modern coach, they want a digital coach.
Yeah.
And we started wondering what all of these adjectives might signify. So I would say fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, definitely. Let's talk about one thing that he mentioned. He says they want to do things differently now. And just like he said, he wants to digitalize the club. And he's been taking some decisions that I love so much. Number one, bringing in a chief operating officer to manage the commercial affairs of the club and day-to-day running of the club. He also mentioned, of course, in order to commercialize the club appropriately. Then he mentioned that he will bring in a sporting director, which is one thing that is the global best practice now. Everywhere across the globe, you see a COO, you see a sporting director who manages the technical and, of course, everything that has to do. There you have it on your screen, the new Chief Operating Officer of Shooting Stars, Bumi Fadayomi. He is a marketing and commercial expert, and he's started with that very massive responsibility to work with that global brand called Shooting Stars. Now, back to what I was saying. I'm bringing in a sporting director and a technical crew as well, and digitalizing the media, having a bigger and a more robust media. I think it looks like the right path to go.
Yes, you said the right path to go, and you know, sometimes if you want to make omelets, you just have to break eggs. You have to more or less step on toes, and I think he's definitely going through that route. Find some of these decisions might not go down well with some quarters. Because
absolutely.
As of
some
today,
people just got their jobs. That's their job, exactly.
Exactly, and but sometimes maybe for the greater good and
of the club.
For Shooting Stars, for the brand. And one thing he said to even be associated with the brand itself is a great honor, and
absolutely.
I'm sure those that have left their roles would look back and say, well, they tried their best, and you could also say maybe they laid the foundation for some of the things that we are seeing now. So just as the lingo say on the street, it's a case of soldier go, soldier come. The
absolutely
would always be there, and we hope that these steps will definitely be the right ones in the future.
So instead of having a general manager, we'll probably have a sporting director who is a technocrat and knows everything, probably play the game in and out, understand what it takes to manage a football club independently this time around, and hopefully we'll get the right person to manage, because we're blessed in Oyo State. We have a couple of them who had played to the highest level, won trophies at club and national team level, are retired, coach as well. Some of them went on to become administrators. We are blessed with all of these people in Oyo State. I just hope that we can make the right decision and put the right person in that particular position, because it's a very delicate position, honestly.
Yes, definitely. A very delicate decision. And right now, I'd also want the fan base, the supporters base, to also have, maybe they should change their orientation, or they can have a reorientation of how a typical football fans, a typical football club is run. You know, I do not want to be stereotypical with what I want to say, but you know, the average Ibadan fan will tell you that, oh, Shooting Stars is my own. I can go into the stadium. Some might even want to watch games for free and even want to get from the club without even giving to the club, as we see proper fans, proper supporters do. So I think the era of handouts, they should more or less look away from it and put their money where their mouth is. Talking about the supporters, they have to pay for games. They have to show that, okay, if they truly love this club, they should also be willing to also have their own resources sown into the club. The chairman was talking about having the team shop for the Shooting Stars brought back to life within the Lake Salami Sport Complex. That even you can even walk in on any day, get club merchandise, even on match days. Bringing all of this in, because it was saying that they have a shop within the Lake Salami Stadium, and it was saying that plans are on ground to
a full complex, a full complex.
Exactly, because it was a conversation I saw him having with some of the officials that still have their jobs. That okay, go and get this shop back to life and let us start selling club merchandise, which I feel is a good thing. So which means that the era of having to scratch your head, where can I get a Shooting Stars jersey, a replica jersey, where can I get this, where can I get that, maybe those days are now over. So I think it's a more or less like a new sheriff in town. There must be a reorientation from the fan base, how their media works now. Everything seems to be changing, and I'm definitely happy with how things are turning out right now.
Toby, I would like us to talk about re-engineering the perspective out there. And I think it's in the hands of the media team coming in. Don't forget that the media would help shape narrative. When you're putting out the right information to the fans, you know, letting them know that you are stakeholders, right? You shouldn't be thinking of milking the club. You should be thinking of adding value in your own way to the club. I think it's about getting the right management team to get the right media team together to push the right narrative, to shape narrative about the club, not just to the immediate fans close to you, but fans globally. And that's one of the things that needs to be done to get our club to the next level.
Yes, definitely. One thing is he said that the club will now have to control the agenda because gone are the days whereby
We've talked about it several times.
Exactly. When you talk about shooting stars, there will be different agendas on around the club, whereby the club hardly would even have its own identity. But right now, it is whatever the club does, whatever the club says, it will be in total control of it, and it is just one word and one word. It is right now. Fine, the erstwhile media officer, Tosin Omojola, has since vacated that role, but I was also still surprised that even after the announcement of Tosin Omojola's disengagement,
I'm getting information from him.
I still noticed that there was some activities from the social media pages of Shooting Stars, that is the Facebook page. Gone are the days whereby if a media officer leaves, it will be an arms race to more or less wrestle control of the social media.
The page,
yes. That's has not happened so far, so I think that's also one step in the right direction. So I'm quite impressed. I'm quite impressed. It's still early days, but I think what we are seeing so far, they are giving us pointers that maybe, just maybe, it's a dawn of a new era, using the words of the chairman. But just as we said, some people would also tell you talk is cheap. However, I want the hierarchy of the club to match these words with actions. So I think within today, tomorrow, maybe, or Saturday, we should have more appointments or more announcements made. Appointment that we'll be seeing Shooting Stars come next season.
Absolutely. I'll be back to you, Toby. Toluwani is also in the studio. Toluwani, names have been thrown up for the chief coach or technical advisor role since Ogunbote has been asked to leave. We've seen Edith Agoye, former player and former coach of Shooting Stars, also his name thrown up. And then, a name has also been thrown up, and that's Ikorodu City's interim coach last season, that's Nuruddin Aweroro. I mean, of all those coaches, which of them do you think will be an upgrade of Benga Ogunbote? Because I spoke about bringing an upgrade, because honestly, you don't want to fire a Jose Mourinho and bring in a Ten Hag.
Actually, I think you just have to use that word. The example is quite expensive, but if a chief Taiwo Lagos Salam is speaking about a digital era in the club, I think you must go for somebody more experienced than Benga Ogunbote, and like Toby said also, he said talk is cheap. You must put the work in action. We must see things happen going forward in situations like this right there. And for me, it begs the question that who is not the right man for the job, because you have listed out two names. For me, I will be hoping that they can get the hand of the Ikorodu manager on board Aweroro to see how.
Well, it's quite young.
He's quite young. He will be able to understand the digital aspect of the game.
Yes, he might not be as experienced as Benga Ogunbote,
about that,
which some of us might not be really happy
with actually. But like I said, there's still other experienced managers that the names are not mentioned. So I'm sure maybe there are talks already behind closed doors are going into these things, are putting these informations right for next season. Also, the media aspect is a big tool, across all generations right now. We know what the media can do, to push you to the limelight right there. So, and I think one thing Shooting Stars have struggled for, over the years is the media. You see games that, sometimes you wonder which putting out information like this, who's running such, details like this, for Shooting Stars. And it's a big club with so much value that they can offer to the world. So if, the media is being put right, I mean, everybody, you need to have creatives, you need to have content men, you need to have good camera.
It's a total team entirely. I'll tell you something that happened like 2-3 months ago, and I hope Toby is also listening. So I was in a meeting with the Honorable Commissioner for Youth and Sport, all stakeholders in sports in Oyo State, including the management of Shooting Stars, the ones that have been asked to do. Also, a question popped up, and they were throwing tantrums at media and saying, you guys throw out the wrong narrative about the club, this and that, you guys don't protect us. And I remember telling them to say, and that's because you don't have a media department. True. I remember telling them you don't have a media department because the media department is not giving the right, is not shaping the right narrative to other media men out there to push out. And I told them, look at what Ikorodu City is doing. All right, look at what Ayimba is, what Rangers is doing.
Yeah.
These people are, and Remo also.
Yeah.
These people are purposeful, right?
They
From the inside, they're the ones who push it out there. And the argument of the then executive chairman, who's been asked to leave, was that no, we have a media team. I was like, okay, let's know the composition of the media team. Say, yeah, we have a media officer. Yeah. Then we have a guy who does graphic to us.
No, man.
Like, okay. No. Then we have a guy who's a photographer. I was like, is that all? I was like, that's all right. No, man, that's the media department.
No, that's not media
2025, we need more.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that someone is there now who understands how things play out. Toby, back to you quickly. What would be your preferred setup? All right. Names have been thrown up. Who and who would you like to see in that team as the director, sporting director, as well, since we already have the COO now, there's nothing we can do about it. There's sporting director in place now. For you, who would you want to have? Who do you think is capable of being a sporting director? Knowing fully well that the executive chairman mentioned that he wants a young coach, a digital coach, so to say. All right. It means he needs an experienced sporting director to put him, put him check and all of that. What would be your setup, your preferred setup?
Well, if I'm to more or less have someone come in as a sporting director, well, in my own opinion, I won't mind seeing a Mutiu Adepoju, and Mutiu Adepoju is quite familiar with the setup. He has been in the setup of the Shooting Stars in the past. I think that was in the at some point in the early 2000s, or shall I say mid-2000s at some
The sporting
point.
director, not the coach. The sporting director.
He left rather acrimoniously, maybe because of the environment
there,
not maybe favoring someone that is well-traveled and bringing his own wealth of experience to a club. So if we are now having a fresh start, if we are having a restart, as the case might be, maybe, just maybe, he can thrive in such a space, because I think I see that seriousness, I see that willingness from the son of the late Lekan Salami, that is Chief Taiwo Lekan Salami, ready to more or less do the job right now. So I think Mutiu Adepoju won't do a bad job as a sporting director. He's based right here in Ibadan, your state, so he might not even need to even do much of traveling in terms of maybe relocating. Ibadan is home for him already. Now, getting a young coach now, of course, there have been names mentioned. Eddie Thagoye, we have heard of within the last hours, the coach of Ikorodu City in the last season, which your team was also with Ikorodu.
Young coach with a young team.
Remember, there's also Paul Ofor.
Paul Ofor is there.
Also, so all of these are young coaches, young, vibrant coaches right there, which I feel can handle the job if they are given the right environment to more or less strive. Eddie Thagoye might not necessarily be a new coach, because of course he has been with Shooting Stars at some point. In fact, he was the one that stepped down before Gbenga Ogunbote took over. He was even an assistant to Gbenga Ogunbote at some point for Shooting Stars. So maybe what might be an advantage for him is that, okay, he might be familiar with the club. I don't want to say familiar with the culture, because right now a whole lot of people have been moved out of the club, so it might be a new culture moving on. But those names, they could be potential replacements.
Potential replacement. Thank you very much, Toby. Wish, of course, all of them there all the very best. But one thing I'll tell you that I spoke with Mutiu Adepoju a few minutes before we came on the show, and I have a bit of information which I can't talk about right now, but we'll just wait and see. Wait and see. Wait and see. All right, well, back to you, Toby. Let's move on the show, and I drop a bit of information before we leave, especially on the COO of the club, which we already discussed already on the show. Just to inform you that his name is Bumi Fadayomi, who has been appointed as the new Chief Operating Officer of Shooting Stars Sports Club of Ibadan. Fadayomi's appointment forms part of the restructuring plans being implemented by the club's new chairman, that's Honorable Taiwo Lekon Salami. The appointee that Bumi Fadayomi, is a seasoned marketing communication expert with experience across West and Central Africa. Salami expressed, confidence in Fadayomi's ability to unlock new commercial opportunities for the club. Bumi's appointment reflects our vision that, quoting the chairman now, reflects our vision to strengthen 3S's operational backbone and unlock new commercial opportunities. Well, Salami was quoted saying yesterday, Shooting Stars recently parted ways with Right Honorable Babatunde Olaniyan Akoro as the executive chairman, who has moved to another agency in Oyo State. All the best to them, and trust us on this station to bring you up to speed with all that is happening in there. All right, moving on, let's go straight to Kano, where Kano Pillars have announced the appointment of Evans Ogenyi as their new technical advisor. Ogenyi takes over from Usman Abdullah, who left the role in May due to personal reasons. The experienced tactician is returning to familiar territory, having guided Kano Pillars to NPFL promotion back in 2023. His appointment takes immediate effect. Well, he was previously an assistant coach at one-time NPFL champions, that's Rivers United. The former Warri Wolves coach left the position just last month following the expiration of his contract. Evans Ogenyi has also managed Lobby Stars in the past. Well, don't forget, since the big man himself joined the club, that's Ahmed Musa. We've been talking about who comes in as the new coach, who comes in, and finally we have Ogenyi here. Yeah,
a man with so much wealth of experience with other local clubs. I looked at what he has done with our Kano Pillars some few seasons ago, bringing them back, into the top flight. I think it's a whole lot to see this man back in action again for Kano Pillars, and I think it's a good direction that Ahmed Musa and the management are doing right now. Trying to walk back Kano Pillars to where they are supposed to be. The major top flight.
We're already seeing commercial impact already. Now
technicals back in action. Those that know how Kano Pillars where they are supposed to be actually. Trying to bring them back into understand the club better. Trying to bring them back into shape again. I think it's a good one. We hope that this man can just rejuvenate Kano Pillars once again back into the NPFL.
Absolutely. Well, we started from Ibadan and we'll move to Kano. Now let's move to Aba. Yes, and this is a very controversial one.
I love this story. We were toying.
Yeah, former Super Eagles striker and African Cup of Nations winner Brown Ideye has taken a swipe on Nigerian Premier Football League giants Enyimba Football Club over what he described as a poor welfare and inconsistent bonus payment during his short stint at the club. Now, speaking yesterday at a podcast, we don't talk about podcast go scatter this country last class.
I'm happy you remember.
He's a 36-year-old veteran who signed for Enyimba just December 2024. Expressed deep disappointment at how players are treated, particularly in terms of daily allowances and match bonuses. And according to Ideye, players at Enyimba are paid as little as 7,000 naira to 8,000 naira per day during away matches. Now, with no fixed rates or structured allowance plan in place. According to him, at Enyimba, we were receiving 7,000 naira, 8,000 naira, sometimes 8,000 naira. It's not even stable. One day it's 7,000 naira, another day it's 8,000 naira. He went on to explain that the amount is typically sent to the team captain, who then distributes it to the players during trips for away games. The payments, he said, do not cover meals or essentials. According to him now, if we had a game on Sunday and traveled on Friday, they will pay 7,000 naira for Friday and Saturday. But on match day on Sunday, you're on your own. No allowance. And this is one player who has played across Europe. Dynamo Kyiv, played in England for West Brom, played in the Middle East as well, seen it all. Now coming back to Enyimba to say, let me give back to the league that made me. And all of this is happening. He said the situation is further compounded by Enyimba's practice of delaying match bonuses until the end of the season. He says, after you've played all season, instead of them to pay you those bonuses after the game, no, they won't do that. They will accumulate everything. At the end of the season, that's when they will pay you. There's no proper structure. Oh my. I can go on and on, but they reviewed a lot. You know, will this encourage, you know, ex-internationals to come back and play here?
So, honestly, now that's the problem with you know, situations like this. You know, and these players, when they talk, it's not that they don't know or they don't have evidence of situations like this. I think that they're just trying to help you know, other players in the league you know, voice because most of them cannot voice out properly. And you know, Brandon Daye, not that he does not have the money, he has the money.
And going by this particular tweet, you know, after the whole situation, you know, he even spoke about the allowance, that the allowance is safe. It's never paid for like 15,000 or 10,000.
10,000.
And that's allowance. Bonus is 7,000. Now, he had this particular tweet. And after this whole thing came up and they were like, what's going on? What's going on? He came up with this tweet to say, because I get money, I should not ask for the one I work for. Please pay me and the players last season match bonuses. Eyimba. The season ended in May. Till now, nothing. New season will start next month. And just to remind you that, the chairman of this club is an ex-international, a former captain. He played at Arsenal, played at Inter Milan, played in Europe also. Kanu Nwankwo is in charge of this club. And this is happening.
You know, if not because of this news, I was about speaking about Kanu Nwankwo also, you know, and knowing that he's the key head, a figure of in charge of this club, and I'm sure you understand how these things work. You know, in Europe,
so why are we hearing this?
So why are we hearing this actually? And I'm sure, you know, about the years actually, like I said, it might not just be speaking for himself. I'm sure it's not
he's not speaking for himself because he just said it now. He said,
yes, because
me and the players.
I have the money, so I'm sure, you know, the majority of this, you know, text message is for other players who cannot also voice, and I'm sure this is not happening only in Eyimba, it's happening in other clubs too, where they have these issues. And I think
you know my worry here is most of the time we say let's bring in those who have played the game, those who have played the game at home and abroad to manage the club and all that. Here is almighty Kanu Nwankwo,
you know,
in charge of Eyimba.
It begs the question, you know, what is the structure of this payment plan? Why is it being delayed? What's happening? Is it that the money is not available, or the money is available and there's some, you know,
we understand that, but the fact that we brought in Kanu Nwankwo, I'm saying we because as stakeholders, to say you are an ex-international, you've played home and abroad. Things should happen
easily.
Because the thing that happened, it didn't start today.
Actually.
And we felt, okay, someone like that should know better. Shouldn't be having issues like this.
And it should structure. Actually, like you said, it should,
under his watch.
So just imagine that maybe next season now, we're also hearing that a certain Ahmed Musa also, you know, we're hearing of Allah. So, you know, the question is tiring to get, you know, information like this. You know,
at this point,
it should not be.
At this point,
come on, we're talking,
I will not.
In fact, I heard that, you know, in the podcast, they were saying, is it $8,000? He said, no, come down. It's naira, 7,000 naira. We're talking 7,000 naira.
All right, well, we need to go on a very quick break because I'm really tired of this situation and not what I expected, honestly, because we expect our ex-international to be doing better. They are not. I'm pissed at this point. Let's go on a break. We'll be back.
Ever dreamed of creating the next virus series or telling powerful stories on the big screen? This summer, your passion for TV can become a reality. Our TV Practical Summer Class is calling all future scriptwriters, producers, directors, video editors, reporters, news editors, and on-air personalities. Get hands-on training from industry professionals. Learn to shoot with professional cameras, master editing software, and produce your own content from start to finish. This isn't just a class. It's your launch pad. Don't just watch TV, make it. Enroll now. Spaces are limited. Visit our website on www.dominion.org.ng or call the number 0706 777 9435 0706 777 9435. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
So we needed that break to calm tension in the studios. And I must put this straight to Luan at this point. At this point, I will never clamor for ex-internationals or anybody to come. The right people should come. Whether you play the game or not, come. Because at the end of the day, they're all the same.
We're talking 7,000.
8,000. It's not even consistent.
It's consistent.
You now wait for 10, 15,000 naira to the end of the season.
End of the season. So that amounts to
okay, we had water already, so let's calm down. Let's move straight to Ghana, where Ivory Coast clinched the 2025 WAFU Under-20 Championship title after a narrow 1-0 victory over Nigeria's Flying Eagles in a tightly contested final held yesterday in Cape Coast, Ghana. The match remained goalless at halftime, with both sides, creating clear-cut chances but failing to convert them. The deadlock was finally broken in the second half of the game, where a dangerous free kick delivered into the Nigerian box was not handled properly by our goalkeeper, and of course the ball was fired in by Zakaria Tendano, and that was how Nigeria failed to win that one. And to be fair, yesterday we analyzed this, although we wanted Nigeria to win, but we talked about their path to the final, and we said the Ivorians had a better path to the finals, and I mean, they've done well. They started pretty well, they ended well.
Yes, like I said yesterday, I think I already knew that it was going to be a keenly contested battle right there. I didn't want the Ghanaians to be in that final because I know that this is just going to be a walkover. But like I said, this is going to be a big game, and that big game it was there. And the Super Eagles, Flying Eagles. I'm sorry, I could not get that victory in the final right there. But I think it's all congratulations, to the Elephants right there to see how they panned that game out against the Flying Eagles.
Apparently, they were more prepared for this competition. Look at how they started. We analyzed yesterday how they started, won all their games. All the games. I mean, like us, we struggled at some point.
Second game.
But then it is what it is. Congratulations to the Ivorians. They are still our brothers, and of course, we are happy that they want. They're that kind of rival that I don't throw it to our face like the way Ghana and South Africa do. That they are just there. They do their thing.
It's why the battle is not really.
All right, let's talk about the big boys this time. Head coach Eric Shell has selected team captain Junior Harrison Nduka, forward Sikiru Alimi, and Gordon Obaje among a list of 23 players to make up the final squad of Super Eagles B team to the 8th edition of the African Nations Championship taking place in Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda from the 2nd of August to the 30th of August. Well, also listed are goalkeeper Ozomena Ani, defenders Sadiq Ismaila and Stephen Mayo, midfielder Hadi Harrison and Alex Oyowa, as well as forward Anas Yusuf, Sikiru Alimi, and Ijeoma Anthony. Now, the contingent is set to travel out of the country to Zanzibar later tonight aboard an Ethiopian airline. The team, you understand, has been training for several weeks at the Remo Star Sport Institute in Ikene, Remo, Ogun State. Super Eagles B team for the 8th African Nations Championship. Let's take a look at the list one after the order. Of course, goalkeeper on your screen, you can have them. Henry Honey, he plays for Eyimba Football Club. Nudi Badmus plays for Kwara United. And Lawal Mustafa of Shooting Stars Spider made the courts for goalkeepers. Defenders, we've got Sadiq Ismail, he plays for Remo Stars. Bankole Afis plays for Kwara United. Tawo Abdurrauf plays for Rivers. Ozondo Harrison for Ikorodu City. Junior Harrison Nduka for Remo Stars. Ngenge Leonard plays for Ikorodu City. Stephen Mayo of Rivers United. Midfielders, we've got Adedayola Mlekon of Remo Stars. Hadi Haruna of Remo Stars. Otani Taufik of Rivers United. Akoni Kudus of Remo Stars. Michael Tochukwu of Remo Stars. Alex Oyowa of Remo Stars. And forward, we have Anas Yusuf of Nassau United. Shola Adelani of Ikorodu City. Sikiru Alimi of Remo Stars. Temitope Vincent of Plateau United. Ijeoma Anthony of Abia Warriors. Gordon Obaje of Rangers International. We also have Jabral Malik of Remo Stars as well. All of those players will be representing us. And just like I mentioned earlier, they will be departing Nigeria for Zanzibar later tonight. Toluani, there you have the list right in front of us.
Yes, the best of legs are selected already. Like I said yesterday, I'm sure that it's not going to be Eric Shells, just the only one selecting these players. It's going to be the home base, coach also that know these players in and out. Right, they're selecting this one, and trust me, amazing selections for me. Anas Yusuf, the top goal scorer also, and key players also from Remo Stars. So you wonder, I'm sure people wondering why Remo Stars. So you just look at what they did last season.
Exactly.
And so it's quality players in the squad right there. Also, you look at Rivers United, Shooting Stars also. So carefully selected players who have done, their homework properly last season, and also during the preseason test,
and of course the camp
also right there. So we can just wish them all the best right there for the chance that has eluded us over the years. You see how we can clinch at this one, going into this competition.
All right, don't forget the Senegalese are right in our group. We'll see how things pan out. All right, let's go to Morocco, where the Super Falcons of Nigeria have extended their support, of course, to injured South African player Gabriela Salgado. The Bayana midfielder was stretched off, during our semi-final clash, of course, at the ongoing WAFCON 2 days ago. The Super Falcons of Nigeria delegation was led by captain of the side, Rasheedat Ajibade, alongside goalkeeper Chiamaka Nnadozie. Michel Alozie was also part of the team, and Oyinbo herself, Ashley Plumped, among others. Now, the Super Falcons prayed for her quick recovery, saying that the entire playing staff of the team are certainly behind her in this trying moment. Well, there you have her. I mean, she suffered a broken foot. She had surgery already, and I thought she'd be out for like 6 months.
6 months actually. Yeah. It's a whole lot actually, and we can just.
Before I was able to spot what really happened, the reaction from the faces of the players. I think it was Chiamaka who saw the thing first. I was like, whoa! The expression was something else. I was like, man, this is bad. And then I saw the leg. Whoa!
It was even yesterday.
The leg went like this.
It was actually yesterday. I actually saw the real video actually, because they didn't want to put it out there.
Protected.
I saw it yesterday.
The legs went like this. I'm like,
a female player?
A female player. Nnadozie saw her. She was like, whoa!
It should not be. Bad injury. And it's a whole lot. 6 months is a whole lot for a player. Are we just getting in a game right there?
And it was nice. I mean, the delegation of Nigerian team went there,
visiting and showing love and support to this wonderful player. We just hope for speedy recovery. For her.
Absolutely. Let's quickly talk transfers on the show quickly as far as Nigerian player is concerned. Chidozie Awaziem, of course, he has moved. He has completed his signing. He has moved to French Ligue 1 side Nantes, completed his signing yesterday. Well, this is not the first time he's playing for Lens. Sometime in 2018, he was there with them. And don't forget that a Nigerian just left Nantes. That's Moses Daddy Simon for Paris FC, and a Nigerian is going right there. Awaziem is a defender, and of course, he's coming in from MLS side Colorado Rapids, and they've allowed him to move, join the club, and of course, it was sealed yesterday. We wish him all the best in the French Ligue 1. We've always had fantastic Nigerian players in France. I believe that he will do justice. Of course, I'm loving the pictures as well.
Beautiful pictures. Beautiful pictures.
Pictures as well. So he's signed a 3-year contract with them. We'll see how things pan out from this point for him. We wish him all the very best as he continues his career over there. Let's quickly move to basketball and inform you that First Bank Bayelsa Waves, of course, secured wins yesterday. As former champions, First Bank made a commanding start to the Women's Basketball Premier League yesterday, following their comprehensive 62-48 points victory over Dolphins at the indoor sports hall of the Samuel Ogbomudia Stadium in Benin City yesterday. The First Bank ladies demonstrated their championship pedigree from the outset of that particular encounter, displaying superiority. And of course, we can check the screen right now. We'll have the pictures of the 2 games that we saw yesterday, with First Bank starting off pretty well. And of course, yesterday as well, we had the second game in that particular group. But first of all, let's talk about First Bank, defending champions. Finally, we have our league back, the female league, the Atlantic Conference. But then, it's just so much. Anyways, we'll talk about it soon. But then, Bayelsa Blue Whales also won yesterday against First Deepwater FC of Lagos, 61-41 points. That game ended. Just 5 teams are participating in that league, in the Atlantic Conference. Yeah, they're just fine. Two pulled out.
You don't even look at.
Honestly, this is not what we bargained for. We wanted a proper league, but this is what the MBF have decided to throw at us. Yeah, we'll manage it.
We'll manage it.
Quickly, still talking basketball. Let's talk about the Afro Basket. Well, we now have the final list. The final roster has been released by the NBBF yesterday for the ladies that will represent us at the 29th edition of the FIBA Women's Afro Basket Championship. And there you have, and they had to throw Wakama's picture right on top. Who did this? Well then, these are the girls that will be representing us at the championship. Don't forget, we've dominated, we've won the last 4 editions of competition. I just want to do it for the 5th time. And it was Wakama who did it for us, led the team the last time out, and we feel that she has what it takes to win it again.
Actually, the pedigree is there for her to do it again. You know, wonderful selection. I can say promise Amu Kamara, Ezine Kalu, Emi Okonkwo. This wonderful lady I just mentioned proved you know, dominance at the last year Olympics. You know, giving us you know, taking us to that stage which you know, no basketball team has been able to do with you know, Amu. I mean with you know, Wakama also, yes, are doing that for us. So I think you know, it's just a good you know, a selection for us, and I'm sure you know, we can get our hands on the trophy right there.
Oh yeah, our time are really fast spent, honestly. Quite a lot to talk about, but then we can't really do justice to that. Let's move. I mean, let's climb the steps and jump the steps and talk about what happened yesterday in Europe. We have a finalist already. Germany took on Spain, and it was a good victory for the Spaniards, just like you predicted.
Yeah, actually, good victory for the Spaniards. It's going to be, you know, the final between the 2 champions, world champions.
England, world champion versus European champion. Don't forget, they played together in the finals.
The finals of the World Cup. Yeah, so
Spain won that.
Spain won that. So it's going to be.
So we're in for a big final.
We're in for a big final. You know, wonderful goal by you know, the FIFA Ballon d'Or. You know, a woman there. I'm talking about Abonamante. You know, doing justice. Let me just let you know that 5 days before this competition, you know, she was on the hospital bed with with the sickness of meningitis right there. But you know, she proved dominance and she showed class. And trust me, a woeful defending from the goalkeeper and also defensive line, just to do that. You know, to see how that goal can come in for the Spanish side. So it's going to be a big battle. Like I said, I wanted it to be a big battle between England and
there you have it.
There you have it.
You want to stick your neck out?
I'm going to stick my neck out for the Spaniards. Actually,
the world champions.
I'm going to see them.
All right, we'll see how things pan out at the end of the day. Well, we have to leave at this point and leave you with highlights of some of the top football games we saw yesterday, especially the one we just talked about. Well, that's the size of the show. Big thanks to you, Toluwani.
Thank you so much for having me.
And on behalf of the entire production crew, I say thanks for joining us today. We'll definitely return tomorrow for another interesting edition of the show. My name is Buluwaji Ogbonna. Do have a wonderful day.
Wonderful from one area, gets away